Okay, guys. Hi. Welcome to the last two chapters of The Vision Driven Leader by Michael Hyatt. I'm Eilers-Heffner. We have chapters 9 and 10, or questions 9 and 10 tonight. And I really love all the stories that he tells about companies. It just really helps to visualize what he's talking about more than just a bunch of facts and stuff. I underlined a lot. I highlighted a lot, and I took a few notes. I didn't want to repeat the entire book. So anyway, but this was kind of funny. I talked to our cross country team today. I pulled my book out. They're like, "Oh, is this the speech you've been preparing? And are you going to cry?" And I'm like, I won't cry today. I'll cry tomorrow. But that very first quote on question 9, many of life's failures are people who did not realize how closely they were to success when they gave up. And that's so true. So true. I think that, really when you can work consistently in this business and put the work in and do it consistently and not start and stop, or yes, life can be busy and you can still carve out 30 minutes or an hour, or maybe it's 15 minutes one day, but moving the needle forward in some consistent way and continuing to learn new skills or build on our skills, I think, is going to lead to success and can get you to the top of the company. So just realizing that, and I think a lot of times people do give up very quickly. Like, oh, I made a post and no one joined me. Like, okay, but our job as a leader is to manage those expectations. Like, hey, get a post up. I don't know how many people will even see it because Facebook is weird, but there'll probably be some people that see it. And why not let your friends know what you're doing? Being honest with that expectation. You're not going to do one Facebook post and go diamond. Like, really letting people know that this is a huge opportunity for them and cast that vision, and making sure we know what our vision is in the forefront of our mind, but also managing those expectations. So anyway, I thought that quote was really good. Like, come on, girls, come on, boys, don't give up tomorrow. Run your race. Just do it. Just do it, you guys. Don't give up before you can be successful. And is it too late? So no, it's not too late. It's too late tomorrow at 3:23 or sooner. Then it's going to be too late for Ella to run any faster. Then it's going to be too late for her to decide that she should have run differently, right? Then it's too late. But it's not too late before we start. And in this business, thank goodness, it is not too late. It's not too late to hone in our vision. It's not too late to hone in on our IPA or change our schedule or tweak something. It's just not too late. We have, and the beauty of how this company works is that we can earn as we learn, and that we can just enjoy the process and embrace that, So anyway, he talks about the vision arc, and if businesses don't acclimate or make changes soon enough, then you go to death, right? And he really goes through all of that. I thought it was really interesting that he said that the life expectancy of a firm in the Fortune 500 was around 75 years. This was half a century ago, and now it's less than 15 years. Like, wow. So what does that mean? It really means that we have to adjust our vision and keep making the necessary changes to continue to be successful. And he talked about how if Lego had opted to keep playing offense. Okay, here, never mind. What would happen if a company opted to keep playing offense and really focus on adding value for customers? That's what Lego did, and then continued to avoid bankruptcy and continue to be hugely successful. And I think that we have that opportunity with Plexus, where we can do a lot of customer care. We can do a lot of customer care with our workers and say, be encouraging and being the good leader and providing that, push when we need to. Like, we can opt for being the best customer care leader to our workers, as well as actual customer care to our customers. We have that opportunity for sure, and can do that every day in this business. So, and then I thought it was interesting. If you don't have an effective vision, then you're stuck where you are. And I think that explains a lot. That explains a lot of where we might be in our businesses. Like, oh, well, my mindset got overtaken by this thing, or this is how I've always done it, but it's not producing that result in, say, duplication or something. So we have to change that. We have to adjust. We have to adjust our vision. And the reason that we're going to want to make those changes and keep going is that we have this compelling vision, this whole thing that this whole book is about, right? So that was really good. It's really interesting. I loved reading about like how Instagram came to be, like so cool, right? How Starbucks came to be, like just really interesting to see these people that decided to run with a bigger vision. And now we're like, wow, look at where they came from. And the other thing to remember is that they did things that didn't work or didn't work as hugely as they wanted. And so they changed their vision and then they went for it. So that's cool. And checking my notes. It's never too late to employ a vision zag and extend that vitality. And we definitely have that opportunity. Okay, I'm feeling stuck in my business. Where's my vision at? Not my vision board, not my dream board, but where's my vision? Where's my vision for myself, for my family, for me as a leader, for the people that I want to bring into this business in order for them to have the dream and the vision that they want to see in their life? Like, put ourselves in check there. And that's going to compel us to want to continue to work our business. Dreams can turn into vision, and that's playing the long game. It definitely starts with a dream. It starts with this, like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I didn't have to work all these hours? Wouldn't it be cool if I had enough money for a pedicure every month and, whatever sport thing for my kid? Wouldn't it be cool if I could work peds part-time and then be home the rest of the time? I mean, now I'm retired, right? Like I even blew past that. So having that dream and turning it into a vision is what allows us to play the long game. And okay, I had a point about this. On page 188, when Chesky was waking up in a panic. So he's the Airbnb guy, waking up in a panic because his panic was this byproduct of a string of rejection from financial backers. But this string of rejection was leaving him in panic. And he had to overcome that. He had to keep asking, keep getting the ask to find financial investors willing to invest in him. And then look where Airbnb is now. And I think we get rejected all the time. We either get ignored, or we get rejected, or we get told no, or people have some sort of objection. And as we continue to communicate our vision and communicate a vision and story for other people, projecting that for them to see, then that's going to help us get the financial backers. It's going to lead to more yeses. But he had to get used to rejection and used to being told no, but he didn't give up. And look at what that resulted. So we say this all the time, like the people that are diamonds have just been told more than we have. And this is definitely one demonstration of that. Lord help me, you guys. Like I have no words left for this whole week. Okay. And then I was thinking about this too, like the legacy zag, where you're kind of settled into, I don't know where this is in this book, but you're settled more into a stride, this legacy zag. And that makes me think of like star diamonds. This is people going double diamond and multiple jewel legs under them. That's where they've really gotten into a stride, and they're able to say, these are the things that work and worked, and I've perfected, and now I'm going to continue to do those things, and my business is going to continue to grow and grow and grow, right? So I was watching that Daniel G that Fallon has referred to. He's on Instagram. He does these reels. They're just reels. They're little snippets of him talking. And he said, the person doesn't lose weight in 2 months. They took 20 years plus 2 months to lose the weight. They did the healthy things until a point where they had the right combination of healthy things that actually helped them to lose weight. Like, we don't go diamond in a day. We don't go diamond from 2023 to 2024. No, we went diamond from back in 2000. When did I start sharing? 15 to 2024, right? Like, it doesn't happen like that where we see, oh, she went diamond last month. No, she didn't go diamond last month. It's taken her 10 years. It's taken her 6 years. And so we don't want to lose sight of that. Like, what did coach said something today too? I can't remember it now, but basically the same concept. Like, we don't get successful right now. It's the work that we're putting in and perfecting and learning and growing in those skills. And then once we learn them and can take off with them on a regular basis, then boom. Oh, wait, I ranked up. Well, no, you didn't, it didn't happen in a month. It happened in these times of figuring it out, that failing forward. So yeah, there we go. And then on page 201, the Blockbuster, I thought it was funny that there's still a Blockbuster in existence. And I wonder if it's survived since this book was written, because I started to listen to a podcast on this book. Actually, when is this? Yeah, it's 2020. So did that Blockbuster actually survive COVID? I would be curious to know. Did not look it up. So the vision that becomes that of preserving the status quo. So we don't, that's a zombie. That's the zombie, like slowly dying, zombie zag, slowly dying. It's when we don't see the warning signs. We we're just trying to stay where we're at, just preserve what we have here. Like Blockbuster, I don't want to change. I don't want to change. Well, now Netflix, like, you lost that opportunity to be Blockbuster on your phone, Blockbuster on the TV, right? So I think that when we see like, oh, what we have in this business is just information. Okay, well, my duplication doesn't look super awesome. Okay, my retention maybe could use some work. It doesn't mean anything about you as a person. It means information about your business, and it's that opportunity to look into it and think, okay, I'm going to watch one duplication video this week, or I'm going to watch one retention video this week. Like, we're going to learn. We're going to take that opportunity to learn, because the status quo of staying here and your points not growing, it's not fun. It's not what we're setting out to do in this business. And so we want to make sure we're not settling for the status quo, or just saying, okay, well, I'm just going to keep doing this how I'm going to do it. That's why you have coaching calls. That's why we have training calls. That's why you have uplines to help you. That's why we're investing in this Eric Worre thing, is so that we can get out of that status quo atmosphere, I guess. I'm telling you, I have no words. So I thought this was really stood out to me. And I think this is true, is that on page 205, he says, failure is normal. It's success that's really rare. And when you really think about it, like, think about a lot of areas in life. How many people are neurosurgeons? Not that many. When you look at how many people are doctors, not that many are neurosurgeons. Why? Because it's a very tough job. It's a very serious job, right? There's other areas. If you look, like, not everyone is an elite runner or an elite swimmer. Why? Because that level of success is rare. And that is one thing with this type of business, but I would even say other businesses too, like being a PT. I'm a great PT, you guys, but I wasn't ever going to be the best PT in the hospital. Like, that wasn't something they rewarded or sought out or recognized or anything. And so it's just interesting. Like, but I love that we have the opportunity through time and consistency to be successful in this business, and can go all the way to the top. So, and then the last question 10, was kind of a short chapter. And it was kind of funny because he's talking about defining your vision script. And he says, schedule it, get the necessary input, trust the process, tweak as you go ahead and launch. I mean, that's kind of, I'm like, yes, he's talking about writing our vision script, but also schedule it. Don't skip it. Don't skip your IPA. Schedule it. Maybe it's 9:00 on Monday night. No, not because that's when we do calls, but unless it's a power hour call. Maybe it's 9:00 on Tuesday night when it's not gut health and happiness time. And it's, 6 a.m. on Wednesday. And it's noon on Thursday. Like, it doesn't matter where your schedule is going to fit that time, just schedule it and get it done. This was what Fallon and Jamie were talking about in that first call in the Ignite Momentum group. Like, figure out your schedule and your routine, figure out when you're going to do the laundry, set the timers, figure out when you're going to make dinner, set the timers, delegate, get kids to do stuff. I tell you what, if your kids can clean and do something 50% as good as you can, go with it, because as they continue to practice doing that, it will get better. Get the necessary input, surrounding yourself with good counsel. We talk about this a lot too. Like, you are the product of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. And so having influential, rock solid people around us is a huge deal. That's why we do our calls like this too, right? Pick out books like this. But that's important, to know who you're surrounding yourself with. Trusting the process. Trust the process of digging deep into consistent with IPA and just asking people. If you have someone who's a happy product user and they're not sharing, and you ask them to share and they don't share, you're still at the same point in the end of the day. But if you ask someone to share and you make it about them and you cast a vision to them and they say, well, maybe, and you can then deal with the next objection, then you can move forward. But we don't get anywhere if we don't ask. And trusting the process, because as you continue to ask your happy product users and even circle back to the same ones over time, then you are still planting that seed and helping them see that this could be a great option for them. And I liked Rochelle Furman even said that she asks people, like, I'm trying to expand my network. How about we do a party so that I can expand my network? And they're like, sure, because they want to help her out. They don't want to share. They don't want a paycheck, but they're willing to hand over people to her for a paycheck. Okay, do something. Trusting the process of doing something consistently. And the simple things that we talk about all of the time, talking and having relationships with people and being in conversations and asking questions. Tweaking as you go. So again, okay, well, how I asked that question, I didn't get a response for the 10 people I asked it to. So maybe I should ask it a different way. That didn't work. It doesn't mean don't ask the question. Oh, don't ask that question. It means ask it in a different way, tweaking things. Okay, I'm onboarding someone and that didn't work. They didn't respond back to me until they decided to detox and quit responding to me. Well, that way of onboarding that person and getting them involved with conversation in the 3-way chat didn't work. I need to do something different. It doesn't mean don't use a 3-way chat and don't onboard them. It means follow the systems that we have in place. And then launch. Just do it. Just do it. Just do your IPA. Just talk about your vision. Go live in your stories. Challenge yourself to, if you go live once a week in your stories and talk, challenge yourself to do it twice a week. And then after you do that twice a week for a while, then do it 3 times a week and work up to talking in your stories every day about something, adding value or asking a question. The hesitancy, the recommendation is not to be always asking a question and getting recommendations. That's still fine. It's great, but you want to be adding value too. So there's that. So anyway, that's kind of what I had for you. And I'm sure you guys probably have some good comments as well. So I'm going to mute.
I wanted to talk about when you mentioned not attaching your own personal value to anything related to, well, let's just talk about like the business because that's what we're doing. But you like a lot of us naturally will do that, and I've been guilty of it too, and it makes you feel like crap. Like if you and it can make you feel really super good. So it's just a roller coaster and it's not sustainable because if you have a really good month and you get, let's say, your three joins and they are doing great, blah, 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 whatever. And then the following month, you work really hard again, but you don't get the same result, then you feel bad about yourself when really just like, I don't know how to put it into perfect words, but that was like my experience with attaching worth to your business. And then you overthink stuff too, at least for me. Like, I'm like, I don't like if I just think to myself right now, like if someone asked me, do you overthink things? I'd say, no, not really. But when I really analyze and reflect on myself and the actions I take, when I'm in those seasons of comparing and like comparison mode of like, oh, she's further along than me, or I started at the same time and her retention must be better than mine. What is she doing for duplication that I'm not doing? That's overthinking. And then I waste all of that time thinking about those things. And there goes my time. Like my time's out the window when my kids are napping and I just spent 20 minutes thinking like that instead of just sending messages. Like you don't want to not be attached emotionally to your business. Like you should care about it. But the outcome, I guess, like send the thoughtful message. If that person's not ready to receive it, they're not going to. And then it's like you have to leave it at that. So you want my last thing, like a good little tip I have, I guess, is you have, I know you guys do it, like you have all these good ideas in your brain and you probably talk yourselves out of them. Like we hear, put yourselves in those Facebook groups, do all these extra good things. You're like, ugh, or at least for me, I'm like, sounds like a lot. Right now, I just need to focus on this. And I talk myself out of those other good ideas, like posting in Facebook groups or making new friends and expanding my network, like Rochelle talks about all the time, and asking those good questions. And recently, I just kind of like, I think it's God bringing it to my attention because I pray about my business. We all know that. Brittany Howard's like, are you a faithful worker or a willful worker? We've been talking about that. I think it all ties together pretty well because, especially for me, like, lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh. Anyway, long story short, recently, oh yeah, I've just like stopped caring about the outcome and I've been doing more of those good ideas, like reaching out and putting myself in a Michigan's Moms Friends group. You would not believe how many people, like how many opportunities come up, like moms. I'm a mom. That's like literally me. I'm a mom in Michigan with little kids. That's the people group I relate to. So, without rambling, like if you have those ideas, just go do them and stop talking yourself out of it. Maybe that's like getting in your own way, like get out of your own way, you know, just like that kind of thing.
Well, and you're right. We definitely need to be attached to our business and care about our business, but it's not taking quote unquote rejection personally. Because a lot of times people aren't rejecting you. You just aren't offering something that they're interested in right now. My friend, well, my very, very good friend from my entire life, her husband is super successful in Stryker Medical. And we have a friend's son who's interested in something business related. And I was like, hey, let me see if Bud has any tips or whatever. And he made a really, really good point that Stryker, for instance, they go into a hospital and that's, there's systems, there's procedures, there's equipment, there's all this stuff that's already in place. And so the hospital is not necessarily looking for new beds. They're not necessarily looking for new EKG machines, whatever. So you don't know, you have to be able to get to know the hospital enough to know if you can add value and offer something better than what they have, and that they can see themselves as you being your product being the solution, not you, but the Stryker products being the solution to a problem they didn't even know that they had. And I think sometimes that we are like that because so many people are like, I'm just a mom in my 40s, and so I'm supposed to be tired and exhausted all the time. I have more energy now than I did in 10 years ago, when I had little kids and stuff. That they slept. I mean, my kids were sleeping, but I just I had no energy. So we accept it, like, oh, I'm just busy, I'm a mom, I'm this, I'm that. It's normal to feel like this. And so when we are sharing testimonies, especially sharing testimonies, not just a pic, like, yes, it's fine to say I've never missed a day, like whatever, but that isn't as meaningful as saying, hey, this is my friend Elizabeth, and she used to be in pain all day long and want to take naps at 3 p.m. every day. And now she's busy from 5:30 in the morning until 9:30 at night. Like, you have to show that people have a solution and that they don't have to continue to live like they are. It's adding value or showing them being successful in Plexus to a problem they don't even know that they have. And especially like finances, like we have, like, honestly, I'm just amazed that more people don't see this as an option. I'm like, you guys, hi, I'm coming into work once every 90 days. Long story, still don't know why I keep doing that job, but it just seems weird not to be a PT, I guess. But I will show up and they're like, how do you not see that I'm home with my kids? I'm doing races. I go to date night with my husband every week. I'm going to cross country practice. Like, I have the time and freedom to do what I want to do with my time. I don't have to come punch a clock 9 to 5 or 7 to 3 Monday through Friday. Like, you have a great job. I'm not saying you don't have a great job, but what if you could have something different? And that's, again, why sharing business testimonies is so powerful. It's, people don't care about facts. They want to see themselves in this. So anyway, that was a whole huge aside, extra training.
Well, and I think too, it's really easy to become discouraged a lot of times because we don't always have a lot of things in our world or life or whatever that are like, yay, this is awesome. I mean, we see so much negativity. So the minute something goes wrong, you're so quick to say, I'm a bad mom, I'm a bad wife, I'm a bad this, I suck at this business. I can't do this. I can't do this. Man, I'm going broke. This. Stop. I mean, and so a lot of times none of those things are true. None of us, I don't think anybody that I've seen on here really are bad wives, bad husbands, bad moms. Yeah, you Steve, you're good. Sorry, I didn't want to exclude you. I don't think we suck at this business, but you know what? We all have different times where we're going to have failures. We all do. I mean, if you were good at everything, I'd say you're a big fat liar, you know? Um, or I want to punch you. I don't know, whatever. Rochelle, you may be a bad husband. Yes, that's true. And I may be as well. But we can't attach the momentary to the whole thing, right? So those little bad minutes, it's like, you'll come home and you say, man, I had a terrible day. Did you have the whole day be bad? Or did you have a couple of minutes that were bad and you allowed that to take over your whole day and you just labeled your whole day as bad? So don't attach those little bits of bad to the whole daggone thing. So same thing with our business. And if you're coming home and you're saying more days than not that this is bad, okay, what are you doing bad? Are things really, really, really that bad? Or is it your viewpoint on things? So, talking to somebody and getting a different viewpoint and readjusting, because nobody wants to feel bad all the time. Nobody wants to think they're failing all the time. And you're not going to if you ask for help and you start over again. But if you quit trying, that's when everything does get bad. If you say, you know what, I'm terrible as a mom. I'm not going to do this. I'm quitting. I'm quitting cleaning up after my kids. I'm quitting this. I'm quitting that. Well, guess what? You just did become bad. So same thing with your business. If you're like, man, I suck at these reach outs in my IPA and people are dropping off and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? If you quit following out, you quit posting, you quit reaching out, you really did just start being bad. So there's always a fresh chance to start new. And that's kind of just something that I would take out of this too.
Mm-hmm. One of the mom. Oh, sorry. Were you going to
Sorry.
talk, Michelle?
I was just going to say something real quick.
Go ahead.
These last couple conversations here, they remind me back at convention with John Maxwell and how we need success and failure to be married, right? Like, and then have that failure, cycle. I think something like how he puts it, you fail, analyze, enter again, fail, analyze, enter again until you succeed. And the more times you fail, the more faster you're going to get to the succeed part, because you learn more from your failures than you do your successes. And so the more you can analyze, a lot of times we stop at the failure part, we forget to analyze, then we forget to re-enter, the cycle again and try this new, and then we forget to kind of complete the cycle. But I've been using this a lot lately too, is success keeps us resilient, failure keeps us humble, or the other way around. Success keeps us humble, failure keeps us resilient. So if we fail, we know success is right around the corner, so that gives us resiliency. If we succeed, we know, what, failure is going to be right around the corner pretty soon, because we're going to, reach for another risk or, take another chance. We're most likely going to fail at it because we haven't entered, this is the first time entering the cycle in this new journey. So that keeps us humble. So our emotions stay level and even, as we're going through our business and we're climbing and reaching and stepping outside of our comfort zone. So yeah, those last couple of conversations just really brought that out. And he has 8 books or something on failure. And I think I might want to start reading them. It fascinates me to view it that way. I think it's great.
Yes. There's one he has, it's not very big. Like, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And there's a kid version of that I got for Ella. I don't know if she's read it yet, but it's next to her bed. It's not hidden away under her bed or in the closet or something. At practice today, one of our kids was telling us about his mom's. She's a forensic scientist. She teaches at Madonna. She still gets called into cases, and then she also heads a research department and has a bunch of fellows, students, working with her doing research and stuff. So she's currently writing some ridiculous 300-page paper, but she developed a protein lifter. So a protein lifter off linen, carpet, tile. Her son didn't know if it lifted off glass, but any blood, body fluid that has protein in it, it's this protein lifter of some sort. And she developed this thing. She has a patent on it, and then people all over the world use this thing. It's called the Zorro Pro, I think. Zorro Pro or Zaro Pro. And so she gets emails all the time on questions on it. How do I use it properly? And then at a conference or something that she went to train on it and talk about it, there was this samurai sword or something from it's over 1,000 years old. And they used it to lift blood, and could tell who was stabbed with this sword from that long ago. They were able to lift the protein and analyze it. I mean, this is a huge deal, huge deal. You think patent, it's cool. Well, he's talking about it. So she said that she knows over 300 ways of not to make this protein lifter, right? So she stuck with this idea and trialed until over 300, tests, materials, product that she created to be a protein lifter. It took over 300 to come up with this thing. But I tell you what, it's pretty freaking cool, right? I mean, this is really awesome. So they use it, and forensic science detectives use it all the time. It's used all the time. It's so cool. So anyway, truly, I've learned 300 ways that didn't work, but then I found the way. And I'm going to ask Jess tomorrow, like, was it worth it? Was it worth it going through all of those trials and frustration of not? I'm going to ask her, and she's going to say, heck yeah, because I get paid every freaking day on my patent, right? And she's really passionate about forensic science and stuff. She was a cop and then forensic scientist. She was she ran competitively in hurdles at Ferris State D1 college, right? Like, she's just a really cool person. And she's a lot like Jackie with her homesteading stuff. They have fruit trees and they have all kinds of stuff. She was like, I'm going to grow some wheat and then I'm going to have my own wheat. She tried 3 different ways of growing wheat, but I got her grinding wheat. She has a hand grinder. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So she's grinding her own wheat and they're making all their own bread now, with either ground up wheat or store-bought flour, but still they're making all their own bread, all kinds of cool stuff. So anyway, just a really high achieving, very cool lady, family too, but hello, like, to stick with that and to come up with this really, really cool product that's really, it adds so much value to our society, right? And it's used all over the world. So it's very important in bringing justice to unjust situations.
I have one more thing. Actually ties well with what you just said. So I was watching or listening to a training today of some kind that anyway, talked about how our brains, they analyze situations by our past experiences. Like, we know that, but it's like, okay, we're presented with a situation. It might be uncomfortable. We're overwhelmed. Like, okay, we are basing our next move off of the past, like what we've already lived through. The advice given in the video was, okay, who are you in 5 years? Like, who is future Jade 5 years from now or 10 years from now? Having had, like, she's achieved all of the goals that I've set as present Jade, what decision and how would she react? Like, what would she tell me? Like, looking back, like this woman who did 300 tests, right? Like, she is now that present woman or the future woman. She's the future woman, right? Of 5 years ago, from when she was doing all those tests. Like, I'm sure she came across days where she was like, oh my gosh, is this even gonna work? Am I ever going to figure this out? Like, I've already invested so much into this idea, so much blood, sweat, and tears. Am I ever going to figure this out? And she didn't quit. But you have to think, like, that future woman, whatever her name is, who is now her now, she would be like, yes, keep going. Like, you're going to get there. Just, like, don't give up, keep going. And then part of that training also talked about another training of a psychologist, which I may have mentioned before, but I love this one. And it's when we get overwhelmed, we have our dreams and our goals, and they're uncomfortable, right? They should be if we're growing, and they're like way up here. And when we feel those feelings of overwhelm, we're being stretched and we want to pull them back down. So when we get comfortable, it's not necessarily that anything has changed besides that we've pulled our dreams and our goals down. Like, we've lowered those. And then we're sensing like that place of safety again. But if we would just lean into the overwhelm, we would grow. So
I think that too, like, you and your cute little ones, and Lauren with her little one, and it's like, it's all going to be okay. Like, you're going to look back on this and be like, oh, wow, look how far we've come, And I see moms at the park, and this little guy, like year-old kid, who was eating like wood chips yesterday. And I'm like, I said, it's adorable. I know it's like you're running around like a crazy person right now, but it's so worth it. And you're going to blink and they're going to be huge. So just enjoy it. You know, you're doing a great job. And I look at these little families and I'm like, oh, I just miss it so much. But I remember at the time going, this is a lot of work. You know, this is hard. This is something busy all of the time. Right. But looking back, I'm like, it wasn't so bad. That was easy. I could do that again. I could control them when they were little. Now they all want to be independent thinkers.
You like my nails? Like my nails?
All right. Well, it's nail time apparently at my house. So I'm gonna stop recording for 1 second. This is totally throwing me off. Okay, bye guys. Have a good night. Okay.